You ever buy yourself a slice of peace and end up with a war? Because that's exactly what happened to me. I thought I was trading my years of stress for a quiet cabin on a Montana lake, but what I got instead, well, let's just say there were trespassers, a forged map or two, late-night sabotage, and the world's most determined HOA president hell-bent on snatching my land. No, really don't laugh yet. This is not one of those, oh, rural living is quirky stories. It's more like bring your own helmet. Anyway, I'm Russell, 42 ex-Coast Guard, and if you'd asked me 2 years ago, I'd have sworn my days of conflict were behind me. Turns out the mountains have their own version of pirates, only they wear blazers and carry clipboards. So picture this. I cash out after 2 decades of service, hoping for a slow life. Buy this old place tucked against the woods, thinking I'm finally out. My new gig is fixing cabins and docks for folks in town, enough work to keep my mind from rusting, but not so much I miss the sunrise. My driveway's a single-lane gravel ribbon winding through the pines, ending at my steel gate, my gate, mind you. Not a suggestion, not a welcome sign. A gate. Bolted, coated, meant to keep out the riffraff. And then one morning, maybe 3 months in spring's barely awake, and I'm just heading down to check the gate, coffee in hand, when I see tire tracks, big ones. Somebody's driven right over the grass, knocked over my marker. Beer cans under a tree. I'm thinking, what teenagers? Then I spot the lock chain snipped, put back like they thought I wouldn't notice. Cute, right? I grab the SD card from my trail cam. Black SUV, 4 people. Sunday afternoon, bold as daylight. They cut the lock waltz right through setup camp at my dock. 4 hours later, they drive out, looping the chain all polite like a little bow on a pile of crap. And then the letter comes. Certified, stamped up with some fancy crest, Elk Run Waterside Association. Never heard of them. But boy, do they know how to write a threat disguised as a welcome. Your gate is obstructing community lakefront access, a tradition. Tradition. The only tradition I know around here is not taking what isn't yours. But get this, they want my gate gone in 10 business days or they'll escalate. I read that letter 5 times looking for the part where someone yells, "Gotcha, no luck." Here's the thing, I did my homework before buying. Triple-checked the deed, even paid a lawyer to poke holes in it. My land was never in the HOA. The previous owner, this legendary hermit Emery, never signed up and the county agreed. There's even a note on the title, excluded, no obligations, nothing. But that letter, the way it's written, it oozes that special kind of confidence only a bureaucracy can have. So I call the number. Some woman answers, Karen, of course, and no, I can't make this up. President of Elk Run, she says. And the sigh. You know the type, like she's been waiting her whole life for this. We go back and forth. She says access road. I say my driveway. She talks community tradition. I talk county records. She says, well, we'll file a complaint. I say good luck and hang up before I lose my temper. Lawyer gets a copy. Sheriff gets a report about the trespass. I get myself a new reinforced chain and 2 upgraded trail cams. Now they feed straight to my phone. When I locked up that night, the snow starting to fall, I knew deep down this wasn't over. Days go by nothing. Then Friday rolls around and I'm sipping coffee, still feeling cocky when my phone pings. Gate cam shows a white Suburban, 3 people, clipboard bolt cutters. I don't even put down my mug. Grab my boots and walk right down. Back away from that gate, I call voice a little sharper than I meant. The woman Emily, this time with 2 goons, says she's here for an inspection. Inspection, I tell her, you're trespassing, lady. The badge-wearing one starts mouthing off about community access. I offer to show him the deed, but what he really wants is for me to roll over. Emily tries to hand me some new letter, all legalese, about infrastructure expectations. Translation, nice place, be a shame if something happened to it. I reinforced the gate again that night, welded brackets, new armored padlock cameras watching every angle. Sent a cease and desist to the HOA and sheriff. No more Mr. Nice Guy. And then the flyers show up on every mailbox, bold letters, lake access denied, one man's gate hurts us all. My name and parcel number right there for everyone to see. They even had drone photos like I'm building Fort Knox instead of fixing up a dock. People in town start talking. Some roll their eyes. Others I can see start looking at me sideways. The HOA's got their petition going. 50 signatures supposedly. But the ones who matter know what's up. Then 2 a.m., that's when the real fun starts. Trail cam catches a guy creeping up, bolt cutters in hand. My motion lights snap on and he's gone, but not before I catch his plate. Police take the report, add it to the pile, I guess. Now you'd think maybe that's enough to make these people take a breath, right? Not a chance. I go to the county, sit down with zoning, and get certified copies of every record map exclusion. The works. If they want to fight, I'm not just playing defense. But things get weirder. Monday morning, knock at my front door. Not the gate, the front door. That means someone's already on my land. It's a guy from the county, clipboard badge, all official. There's been a complaint about an obstruction, he says. He hands me a packet, a doctored map with my driveway highlighted as some historic community fire access trail. They'd forged the whole thing, even stuck a GIS overlay showing my land as a shared access zone. I point out the real boundary. He shrugs, says I'll need the originals for a hearing. A hearing. On my land. I call Janet, my attorney. She's already got wind of it, an emergency injunction filed by the HOA. She's filed for discovery, and we start building our wall of documents. By Wednesday, we've got the original exclusion letter, handwritten maps, the works, and then Janet drops a bomb. Turns out someone inside the county changed the digital GIS records a few weeks ago. The request was made by a zoning tech named Miller. And get this, one of the surveying firms on the doctored map run by Karen's husband. It's almost cartoonish, right? Thursday comes court day. I show up looking like I just finished patching a roof, because I had. Karen's across the aisle looking like she's about to host a finance seminar, not a land heist. Their lawyer throws every buzzword in the book: shared access, implied easement, public good. Janet. She slices through it all, lays out the forged map, the county records, the connection to Karen's husband. Judge doesn't say much, but you can see the wheels turning. He freezes all action on my land until he can review the evidence. Which in judge speak is something stinks, and I'm not letting you bulldoze this guy. That should have been the end, but nah. Sunday morning, I get a call from Curtis Marina guy. Good people. He sends me a photo, an excavator parked by my gate, Karen standing there like she's inspecting a sculpture. I drive back like my life depends on it. When I get there, the crew's already torn down a fence panel and started prying up the post. I don't waste time. Call the sheriff. Call my old Coast Guard buddies, Colby and Jared, who live nearby. We rebuild the fence, pour concrete, set up alarms and floodlights. The sheriff's deputy shows up, takes a full report, and bless him asks, "You want to press charges?" Damn right I do. Karen starts shouting, but the deputy just asks her to leave. She promises a review by the county board. I add new signs. Private property not subject to HOA. Violators prosecuted. The next day, I get an alert, new HOA proposal with a plan to build a pier and parking lot on my land. And the kicker? They forged a signature from Doug, the man who sold me this place, who's been dead for 2 years. At that point, I'm done playing nice. I take the fake documents straight to Janet, who files a criminal fraud report and gets Claire, Doug's widow, involved. She brings notarized proof Doug never signed anything. Claire, as luck would have it, knows a few people at the local paper, and the story blows up, me standing at my rebuilt gate, arms crossed, headline calling out the HOA for forgery. People start coming out of the woodwork, old stories about HOA shenanigans, suspicious assessments, even sabotage. I get calls from radio stations. Karen hates it, but she's not done. I find a sign nailed to my tree, "Keep out host scab." You don't belong here. Straight to the sheriff with that. Janet files for a restraining order. The HOA, meanwhile, tries to strike a deal through a development company. They want to build a parking lot, a dock, a wedding venue. All before the courts ruled a thing. They'd already spent the money in their heads. So I dig deeper. Old contracts permit filings, LLC ownerships. Turns out Karen's been using the HOA to quietly buy and flip parcels to friends, funneling money through shell companies. I compile everything and walk into the next hearing with a binder thicker than a phone book. The judge, this time it's Decker, a sharp lady who doesn't suffer fools, calls it for what it is. Janet lays out the forgeries, the financial ties, the drone photos, even a forensic analysis of the signature. The judge is not impressed with the HOA's excuses. Injunction granted, restraining order slapped on everyone even remotely involved. But karma's not done yet. Media picks up the story. Karen's mugshot leads the news after the sheriff hauls her in for fraud, conspiracy, criminal trespass. The HOA board resigns en masse. County launches a full audit. Turns out a couple $100,000 is missing. My lawyer doesn't ask. She demands settlement, apology, permanent exemption from HOA claims. They pay up fast. And you know what? After all that, I get my piece. Fixed the dock, upgraded the gate. Now it's got thermal cameras. I even installed a bronze sign, bold letters, "No HOA access." Trespass is a felony. A few neighbors joke I should sell them on Etsy. Karen takes a plea, gets 10 years. HOA dissolves. The land stays mine. The lesson. Sometimes the price of peace is knowing when to fight like hell for it. Never assume paperwork will save you, and never underestimate what people will do for a piece of dirt by the water. Now, I want you to think about this. Where's the line? When does standing your ground become something more? And if you were in my boots, would you have fought or let them roll right over you for the greater good? Share your story, your thoughts. Ever gone toe-to-toe with a power-tripping board or lost something because you didn't push back? Because I'll tell you, sometimes justice only happens when you make it happen yourself.